Yeah, we business tonight.
what's going on with the Blazer, man? What's up?
I'm gonna explain all of that. Watch the Game podcast. Thank you for joining. I'm your man, L.A. Cheatham.
Benjamin Banneker, what's up, good people? What is up?
Yeah, man, we mean business tonight.
I see. I ain't get the memo.
Well, this is all about design. I gave you a clue I gave you a clue after the game on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
But I want to celebrate this with a few people because this has to be done. Will Bates, one of my boys, Will Bates. Of course, the TaylorMade boys. The TaylorMade boys. Chris, Steve, Greg, Big Ty, and my man Rick. Little Pac-Man. Of course, yourself. Let me take care of some business here.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, good people. I didn't know. I really didn't know that we were supposed to be at least have a blazer on tonight. You see, I came, our beloved Chicago Bears had the orange jerseys on. So I said, in the spirit of the orange jersey, let me throw on my orange Nike hat because not my Nike hat, my orange Nike shirt because I am all about Nike. Just do it. So if I could do this for the Bears, they had their orange on yesterday. I came with my orange Nike shirt, but I did not know that we were supposed to come with the Blazers on. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and explain that one.
As we said, we're gonna have some fun. We're going to laugh when it's time to laugh. We're going to celebrate when it's time to celebrate. And we will get to the Wolverines first and foremost. But I have an announcement to make. Will Bates, TaylorMade boys, Chris, Steve, Greg, Big Ty, Rick. They're my boys that we be texting during the game, Big Bears fan. Pat the designer. Big ups to you. Cutter Pac-Man. Number 12. Dale. Sean. Have I missed anybody? Oh. Jarris Jackson. I don't think I missed anybody. Anybody you want to touch tonight?
Uncle T. My boy Spence. My boy Jay Hill. My boy Tim, shout out my boy Tim, who don't like Jimmy Butler for some reason, but that's another episode. You definitely got to throw them in there too.
Okay, well, tonight I'm going to announce, first and foremost, I've been a Bear fan since about 1980, I believe, thanks to the great Walter Payton. Been a Bear fan since about 1980. I'm going to be a Bear fan probably for the rest of my life. So, in the spirit, Walter Payton, I have self-proclaimed myself the executive, the top executive fan associate of the Chicago Bears. And the reason why I did this is because we have some decisions to make. And with that being said, we're gonna start the show on a high note, and we're gonna celebrate the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah.
So I thought you would come with your Michigan blue and maize tonight, but I feel you in the spirit of the orange and blue. Got it? But we're going to celebrate the Wolverines for a little bit tonight. So with that being said, let's do that.
Yeah. You see, I already got my little twisted team still having a conference championship hangover. Hold on. But for the first time in 17 years, the Michigan Wolverines are the champions in football of the whole conference. Now, that don't mean Ohio State beat us. That don't mean, well, Michigan State did beat us, but, shout out to Purdue and Ohio State for taking care of them boys. Northwestern, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, Rutgers, Maryland. I'm missing some, but off the top of my head, we better than all y'all. So I just want to acknowledge this moment because I've been a Michigan Wolverines fan since 1991. Number 12 took me to my first Michigan game to see the great Desmond Howard during his Heisman Trophy season. They played Purdue, and it was cold as hell that day, and we stayed the whole entire game. So I've been a Michigan fan since 1991. So what happened on Saturday night was a long time coming. Like I said, 17 years since we got the last one. So it was just, I will say though, the Big Ten championship, the game, because it was never in question, it was just pretty much what the final score was going to be, was not as exciting as finally getting over that Ohio State hump. I will say that. But we still the champions of the East. We the champions of the conference. We in the college football playoff. Next up, Georgia.
And speaking of Georgia, by the way, I want to take out the time to congratulate you and the Wolverines and the Wolverines fan base on the Big Ten Championship. But for a segment of time tonight, we're gonna cover a little bit of college football when we talk about the college football playoff. Are you good with your draw as far as you picking up the Bulldogs on New Year's Eve?
You know what? I thought we made a strong case to be number one, but I don't care what the committee says. We know what their priority was, and that was to not have that rematch of Bama and Georgia playing in the first in the national semifinal game. So we get it. I understand it. I thought we deserved to be number one and get to play Cincinnati. But even though we number two and we still got Georgia, from watching what I've seen from Georgia this season, and I watched a lot of Georgia late in the season, and as it got down to conference championship game time. Besides their defense, I am not afraid of Georgia. Now, if we was playing Bama, I'd be like, hey, we got our work cut out for us. But I really think I would be disappointed if Michigan don't at least get to the national championship game.
Well, we want to stay in the SEC. Georgia. Mm-hmm. At times I couldn't get home fast enough during this season to catch the Bulldogs at kickoff. Sometimes by the time I got to, turn on the game was damn near over.
Yeah.
So I never really had a chance to really watch the Georgia Bulldogs. Coworker told me at work they only gave up 8 touchdowns all season on defense. I didn't know that until last night. Once again, I was a little late to the party watching them play, in the SEC championship against Alabama. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed with Georgia. I think they gave up 4 touchdowns, half as many touchdowns as they gave up all season.
Yeah. And
at the same time, this does not look like one of Alabama's best football teams. Now,
I'd agree with that too.
Byron Young, I believe that's the kid's name, the quarterback.
Yeah, Bryce Young.
Bryce Young made a hell of a case for the Heisman. And I think other than Alabama beating Georgia in the SEC championship, that was the most significant thing that happened that night because he made a case for his stake in the Heisman race. Wasn't overly impressed with Alabama. This is not what I typically see with Alabama. They don't have the strong running game, but Bryce is the real deal. And I believe he's only a freshman.
Yeah.
He's a redshirt freshman. He's the real deal. Now, let's talk about your Wolverines.
Yeah.
We talked about whether or not Hassan Haskins would have a chance to be invited to New York, and I felt like he needed to have a big game in the Big Ten Championship. It wasn't as big as I think it needed to be. He scored a couple of touchdowns, but I'm not sure about his stat line. It wasn't as impressive as the game he put together against Ohio State the week previous.
Right.
Now, Blake Corum, however, has found his stride, and he probably had the biggest player of that game. Well, I can't say the biggest player of the game because Donovan Edwards threw a hell of a ball for a touchdown. But Blake Corum has come to play for the Wolverines, and I think they're going to need him. They're going to need all hands on deck to beat Georgia. Now, don't get me wrong. I wasn't all that overly impressed with Georgia, but there was a level of competition that they have had to compete against to be on this level.
Yeah, and the thing with Georgia, what I'm looking at too, is the defense primarily carried them all year. Where the walk-on quarterback, what's his name? Stetson. I can't remember his last name. He's a walk-on. He's a walk-on for a reason. Okay, but because the defense was so dominant, he was never in a game where he had to make a throw. He had to make the play. He had to make the right read. He had a great margin for error. We get in the college football playoff. We know Michigan defense. We know we got Hutchinson and Ojabo that's going to come and bring pressure. How's he going to respond to that? And I think now with the new defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald, we can have confidence in our coaching staff putting together a defensive game plan that's gonna give us a chance. I don't think we necessarily gotta play bend but don't break like we did versus Ohio State, like we did versus Iowa. Because Iowa wasn't really a threat, but they played bend but don't break. When they got in the red zone, they shut everything off. So I feel real good about our chances. The key is gonna be, can we get another performance out that offensive line versus upper echelon defensive talent? If they do that, all them dudes need to go first round in the draft come April. If they can do that.
And then we got that other semifinal game between Cincinnati and Alabama. I believe another Heisman candidate, Desmond Ridder, quarterback for Cincinnati. I think he's I would like to believe that he's going to New York also. Let me back up a bit because I want to mention Aiden Hutchinson also as well for the Wolverines.
He's going.
Has an opportunity. He has an opportunity to be I believe one of the first Heisman Trophy winners, because I believe he'll be in New York as well.
Yeah, he's going.
I believe he has the first opportunity to do it since Charles Woodson.
Yeah.
Another Michigan Wolverine back in 1997. He was the do-it-all. When Charles Woodson played, he did it all back in 97. He caught a couple touchdown passes.
Punt return.
He brought back a couple punts and kickoffs, picked off, interceptions. He was by far the best football player in the land in 1997. So I want to mention Aiden Hutchinson because I believe he made his stake to make a trip to New York as well. But Alabama, Cincinnati. I don't know. We're going to really see what Cincinnati is all about. I don't know a whole lot about them. All I know is Desmond Ridder has been getting the job done. I caught a little bit of the game against between Cincinnati and Notre Dame, and that's when they made their case to be in the top 4, and they kind of held serve up to this point. Well, now they got to match up with the best football program in the land, the Alabama Crimson Tide. So how do you think they're going to match up with Alabama?
Well, the line opened up. It's got Cincinnati as 13.5-point underdogs, which I think is probably fair. I probably would have put it a little bit higher, like 17.5. But the strong suit for Cincinnati is they got 2 NFL cornerbacks in their defensive backfield. We just seen Jamison Williams. Is it Williams or Williamson from Bama just go nuts in the SEC championship? So again, it's the same type of deal with that Michigan and Georgia thing. Like, can you step up to that elite level of competition? If those 2 cornerbacks can hold serve and kind of keep Williamson and Brooks from making good plays, because you ain't got to worry about Michie now, because we got the report that Michie's out with the ACL, so he won't be in the college football playoff. If they can hold serve, and Cincinnati definitely has to win the turnover battle, they got a shot. I mean, we can't just write them off. We can't. I mean, they have
the right to be there.
Yeah,
they will be there. You make a good point, because the pressure's really going to be on the Cincinnati defense. To match it with maybe the superior athleticism on the part of the Crimson Tide. That's where the matchup, I think, is going to come in at. And whether or not the Crimson Tide's defense can get pressure on Ritter. I believe they may be able to get it done just because they got the superior athletes. I think that's pretty much what it's going to come down to when you talk about the matchup between Alabama and Cincinnati. So
don't let it be close late, though. Don't let it be.
Say it again.
Don't let the game be close late, because I don't think Alabama want no type of that pressure and no type of that dogfight. We all know the saying: you got a dog down, kick him, make him stay down. If they let Cincinnati hang into the game, third quarter, mid-third quarter, we could be looking at probably the biggest upset definitely in the college football playoff era.
Most definitely college football history. Now, I believe history, because I don't believe this is Alabama's best football team by far. But you just think about it. The Cincinnati Bearcats, if they were to go out and beat that Alabama, it's got to be the biggest upset in college football history. Because I don't believe in the beginning of the season anyone saw Cincinnati getting to this point. It's probably maybe even your Michigan Wolverines. So we got 2 teams. And
Michigan was the first unranked team to start the season to make it into the playoffs. So, prognosticators and the analysts was not picking Michigan and Cincinnati to be in the Final Four. And if they did, they lied to you.
So, and with that being said, now we're talking about those 2 semifinal games. I was not impressed with the Georgia-Alabama matchup in the SEC Championship. I really don't want to see a rematch of that game in the college championship. So I'm really hoping the Wolverines can pull it off against Georgia, because I don't want to see Georgia match up in the championship game against Alabama. So I'm going to pick Alabama to beat Cincinnati. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to pick Michigan. I'm rooting for Michigan to beat Georgia.
I would go with the same exact picks. If I had to give you a score, I would go Bama, but 48 to Cincinnati 21. And Michigan, that's gonna be close. That's a 27, 24, 26, 24 type of game. But I definitely got the same thing. I got Bama and Michigan in the national championship game on January 10th, the day before my birthday. So you already know what I'm gonna be doing.
Hey, and then let's point out that we've talked enough about Georgia's defense and how good they have been throughout the season. But let's not forget, the Wolverines has been pretty good on defense as well. So I think that's pretty much what it's gonna come down to. Which the big plays is any one of those defense going to allow any big plays?
Mm-hmm.
And the one that holds, that down to a limit is going to win that football game. You got two pretty good defenses showing up that night. So I'm hoping with the Wolverines can get it done. Now we get down to the business of our Chicago Bears. This ain't gonna take long, but we got some business to take care of now. And in the wake of the loss to the Arizona Cardinals, I found a new inspiration to appoint myself as the executive fan of the Chicago Bears. So with that being said, I've decided to start the search for the new head coach of our Chicago Bears. Now, you might not like them all, you might not like it, but this is what I come up with. And I'm going to ask you your opinion of them. No particular order, but I just jotted them down. First and foremost, Sean Payton of the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
He's a former Chicago Bear.
Uh-huh.
He's worked with Ryan Pace before because, Ryan Pace
was the GM, assistant GM.
With the New Orleans franchise as an executive.
Yep.
So Sean Payton.
I can see it because I think Sean Payton has squeezed all that he can out of that New Orleans Saints orange. It ain't no more juice left there. I mean, Drew Brees is gone. Jameis went down with the knee injury, so we know he's probably not coming back till probably early part of next season, if that, when he get back. You can't sell me on Taysom Hill being the starting quarterback for 17 games. Who else they got in there? Trevor Siemian as the quarterback. I think he's going to look at that situation and be like, you know what? Kind of similar to a Pete Carroll leaving USC to go to the Seahawks type situation. I think he can look at that and be like, you know what? I got Justin Fields. I got a running back in Montgomery. The kid Mooney is coming along. And with my offensive genius, I can really take that team to the next level. He can do what Matt Nagy is set out to do. What Matt Nagy was brought here to do, I think Sean Payton has the resume and the coaching acumen to do that with the Chicago Bears. So I can see that one happen.
Now this is see people don't know this, but me and you and Cutter and Sean and Dale, this is what we do.
Yeah,
we've been talking sports and trash for a long time. And the reason why I brought that up was because you just read my mind. You took the words right out of my mouth. Because Pete Carroll was the next guy. He was the next name I was going to drop. So you took care of that. Okay?
Yeah.
You took care of Pete Carroll. Okay? So Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals, he has those guys playing opportunistic football. They turn the hell off. They get so many takeaways, and I brought this point up last week when we talked about this game, that the Bears, in order to win, I felt like they had a chance, but they could not turn the football over, and that's exactly what they did.
Okay.
4 turnovers.
Yeah.
So Vance Joseph, he had an opportunity to coach in Denver for a season. That didn't work out. But I just like him because he has that experience, at least, of being a head coach.
I will put him lower on the list only because I think they're going to be looking for an offensive guy to come in. The Matt Nagy experiment didn't work. Okay, boom, he's out of here. When we know Matt Nagy came in, he came in with Mitchell Trubisky. That didn't work. I think they are sold, and they know we got our guy. I think they've seen enough from Justin Fields to know this is our quarterback for the next 10 years. So the guy that they're going to bring in has to be someone that can cater to his skill set. I think the whole notion of you know, we got this great defense in Chicago, monsters of the Midway, and I think that's over with. So I think they're going to go more offensive versus defensive. So that's why I put him down the list. But he viable candidate, but I put him down the list, though.
Once again, you hit it. But you have the right thought process of what you would think a typical Bear fan, or we may feel the pulse of the office of Hallis Hall. They may think exactly what you're saying. But me, myself, personally, I'm tired of the new shiny coordinator. I want guys I want a coach that's gonna come in and hold men accountable. Because that's the problem with this Bears team. They lack accountability. Guys go out there and make mistake after mistake after mistake, and there's nothing being done about it.
Yeah.
It took how long to get Kendall Vildor off the field? Okay? Lack of accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So,
and I give you the flip side to that. We saw Rodney Adams get activated for the game this week because of injury, but you can't tell me that dude didn't deserve to be on the 53-man roster or what he put on tape in the preseason. Like, they was holding spots for guys that hadn't took a snap the whole preseason. Like, where's the accountability?
And if you remember, he originally made the 53-man roster, but they brought in Brashard Perriman.
Yep.
He didn't play a damn game. And, okay, we just not getting the chance to see this guy.
Yeah, right.
Okay. All right. Lack of accountability. Too long to make a decision off the roster. You know, too long, taking you too long to make roster adjustments. Hell, Allen Robinson's been down for, 3 weeks now?
Yeah.
Why couldn't he hit the field a lot sooner? He should have hit the field the minute you let go of Brashard Perriman. No one else was stepping up.
Exactly. And
speaking of that, what's my man name? Number 17. He's kind of
not
the wide receiver. He's been getting an opportunity. Jakeem Grant.
Yeah.
Jakeem Grant was a good acquisition because he's assumed the responsibility of, getting some snaps on the offensive end. They brought him in to return punts and kickoffs. He's doing that.
He's and
when Allen Robinson went down, he picked up the responsibility of getting in the playbook, and he showed some ability to make plays. I think Damian Byrd has showed some ability in the last 2 weeks. Lack of accountability. Once again, what the hell is going on with Cole Kmet?
Dude.
He had the best game of his career previously against it was Detroit, right?
Lions, yeah. I don't know who that was.
He goes out and makes one of the biggest mistakes of the game on Sunday afternoon.
And how did he not catch that ball is beyond me. Like, he didn't even get touched. That ball just it was on him, and then it just popped up, and he might as well put it on the tee for that interception.
Okay. So, lack of accountability, the lack thereof to make the adjustments to the roster. I think that falls on Matt Nagy. Okay. Let's get back to this list. Greg Roman. Now, Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator in Baltimore, a few weeks ago, he was picking up a little steam, probably early in the season, because of his ability to have the success he's had with Lamar Jackson. But if you look at it, the past few weeks, Baltimore's been squeaking. They squeaked against our Chicago Bears, and they haven't been scoring as many points either. Mm-hmm. They've been struggling to score points. So he's not really a favorite. I just want to throw his name out there because I believe he will get some consideration. Me personally, I don't like it because Lamar Jackson accounts for so much offense in Baltimore. So him and the tight end Andrews, but they're not scoring any points either. So I think he'll get some consideration though.
And you know who he was before Baltimore, right?
Say that again?
I said, do you know where he was at before Baltimore?
No, I do not.
Offensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers when Colin Kaepernick was the quarterback. He brought that system from San Francisco and implemented it around Lamar Jackson. I mean, I don't think Justin Fields is that type of quarterback. I think Justin Fields is a bona fide quarterback that can run. I don't think we have to tailor the offense so he can be mobile and do all this gadget stuff. So I would pass on Roman.
So Greg Roman, Brian Daboll, I think he's the offensive coordinator in Buffalo. I think he'll get some consideration. Once again, I'm just throwing his name out there because I think he'll get some consideration due to the success of the Buffalo Bills. But I'm not interested. I'm really not interested in any hot coordinators right now. I'm really not. I want guys with experience that's going to come in and hold guys accountable on all three phases of the football team.
Yeah.
Not no specialists. I don't want any more specialists. That's the problem.
No more quarterback whisperers.
No more quarterback whisperers. I want a damn head football coach.
Yeah.
Somebody who will go out and hold coaches accountable, hold players accountable, okay? And be able to sometimes step up to management and say, hey, look, this is what I'm doing because I've done it before.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's obvious that our Chicago Bears executive brass know very little about the game of football on the field.
I think they're more interested in turning a profit.
Well, exactly. But you know, we need somebody out there that's gonna hold the team accountable, hold the locker room in check, and when guys check out, check the hell out. Then cut them.
Yeah, and
because I see some things going on the field that's worthy of cutting a few guys in honor of Jimmy Johnson. I thought about Jimmy Johnson several times as this game was being played. Poor tackle, not catching the football, stuff like this. Once again, and just in case you didn't understand, today's word is accountability and the lack thereof on our Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
No accountability. Guys go out and make mistakes. They don't have to pay for it. They're going to get paid. I put it like this. If it wasn't for our fan base in the media complaining, social media, public media, national media, local media, if it wasn't for those people complaining about the performance of Kendall Vildor, we probably would have never saw him be replaced at corner.
And you know what we do here? We watch the game. Like, that's the premise of what we do. We watch the game. We've been calling out Kendall Vildor for what, 4 weeks now? And he just got replaced. Like, that's ridiculous. But I mean, you're the executive fan, so that's why you seen that. But that's ridiculous for us to be able to make that call and see that, and the guys in the building can't see that. And I also want to point out yesterday too, I think a lot of guys on this team have packed it in for the season. That's what we saw on the field yesterday. But because I sent out a tweet yesterday, there's no way that a team from Arizona that plays in the dome and don't have to deal with weather like this comes to Soldier Field and outplay you in bare weather. It shouldn't happen, but it did. 4 turnovers. Guys didn't look motivated to play whatsoever. I think that was the reason for a lot of the turnovers yesterday. And I can make the case, I felt like Andy was just out there just chucking it around. I don't think he even gave a damn yesterday.
Well, in all fairness to Andy Dalton, I think he played at times as well as he could play. He made some plays, but it was those 4 plays he would like to take away. Now, the Cole Kmet interception, putting that on Cole.
Yep.
I think he threw a ball that was too high for was it Grant?
Uh-huh.
It was Jakeem Grant.
On the screen.
He threw a ball to him that was too high and it was deflected and it was interception. That was the first interception. I put that on him. Put that on Andy Dalton. But at times, he made some plays. The Bears didn't have they didn't have a problem moving the ball up and down the field on what I consider a pretty good defense. They ran the ball. I didn't have a problem with play calling. For once, I did not have a problem with the play calling. I think we had a chance to see David Montgomery be featured as the running back that they drafted him to be. He caught the football, he ran the football, played particularly well, and we also got some carries by Khalil Herbert. This was the first time I'm not satisfied with the loss, but I didn't particularly have a problem with the play calling because it looked to be balanced to the skill set of Andy Dalton with his level of experience. I was pleased with the play calling, but you can't turn the damn football over and expect to beat one of the best teams in the league.
Right, exactly. And my take on Montgomery, I know he had 21 carries for 90 yards yesterday and a touchdown. But I just felt like a lot of them yards was empty calorie yards, if you know what I mean. Like, they didn't impact the game. Like, it's a difference in having 21 carries, 90 yards, and a touchdown in a close game or, a game you win. It just felt like every time he touched the ball, once we got down, it was just like, we got to give it to him versus he's going to help us win. You know what I mean? Like, the yardage just didn't make sense to me. It was just empty calories. So I really wasn't too pleased or over the moon with his performance just because I didn't think it had much of an impact on the game. And Khalil Herbert only got 4 carries again yesterday versus 21 from Montgomery. I'd like to see that maybe 16 Montgomery, maybe 8 to 10 for Khalil Herbert, because you threw the ball 8 times to David Montgomery too, so he's still getting his touches. Like, let's spread that out, because Khalil Herbert, again, we said this at the beginning of the season, we like our running back room. Let's get him the ball out the backfield doing what he can do. So, but yeah, that was just my take on that. And then Andy throwing the ball 41 times, I thought that was way too much for this Bears team. But they was behind a lot of the game. So
now that's where me and you may disagree, because I was very much so pleased with David Montgomery's contribution to this football game, because at times it looked as if he was the best player on the field. The problem is, when you go down 14-0, I want to give them credit because they at least didn't give up on giving him the football. Usually they would just throw the game plan out the window and just sling it, and they didn't exactly do that. David Montgomery was the Bears' best offensive football player yesterday, and at times he was the best football player on the field. Sending some shout outs to my man Buda Baker, for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, when you give him a short field, I mean, I question the durability of Kyler Murray, but hell, if you're gonna give him a 30-yard field to work with, well, damn. I mean, he's the most dangerous guy on the field at that point. If you're not gonna put them in position to use the whole field to score points, I mean, what else can you expect?
And he only threw the ball 23 yards yesterday. He threw the ball 15 times yesterday.
11 for 15, 123 yards.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, it's people that actually watched this game and wanted to praise him. I'm like, come on, man. You didn't watch the game? Because it was 4 turnovers. They were down 14-0 at the beginning of the game. The Bears spotted them 14 points.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
You give Kyler Murray a short field, what the hell you think he's going to do? He one big play away from getting in the end zone. You have to keep this guy contained. You have to keep him contained, and you have to force him to make plays down the field with not so much of a short field, but all 100 yards of the football field is what you need to stop Kyler Murray. You give him half the football field to work with, this is what you get.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, it was over before it started yesterday. We spotted him 14, and it just never, like, even because Kyler has some ball handling issues, on the snap. rolling on the ground. We couldn't even get those. So, like, if we're not going to get the turnovers to give ourselves a chance in the game, like I said, and you spot him 14, it was over before it started.
He rushed for 2 touchdowns. I think he
threw for 2. Yeah.
Threw for 2 touchdowns. And the one pass he threw to Connor, that was once again lack of accountability. Someone missed the tackle. 21 missed the tackle, whiffed on the tackle to bring Connor down.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a bad throw. It was a hell of a coach. It was a hell of a catch on Connor's behalf to catch it and take it into the end zone. So a bad throw. He caught the ball. And then I forget the guy's name, number 21 for the Bears. He whiffed on the tackle. Connor run right into the end zone. Lack of accountability.
Crawford.
What's his name?
Crawford.
Yeah, exactly. Poor attempt at tackling on his behalf. Okay. I will make an executive decision on him. He'd be done. Because, don't get me wrong, I know you're hurting at the position, but he just came off the street.
It's a reason he's on the street. Yeah, there's a reason he's on the street.
Yeah. So, you know, you should go continue to hear the word lack of accountability. I think it's been that way all season. And it's pretty much been that way throughout Matt Nagy's tenure. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. And I think as Bears fans, I think the media, I think even Matt Nagy know at this point now he will not be retained after this season. So I don't understand the point of keeping him for the next 5 games. Why?
So we're going to touch into my last 2 candidates. You see how we kind of mixing this all in? And we're talking about this horrible game, but at the same time, we're taking care of business.
Mm-hmm.
So I got 2 more candidates for 3 because I'm going to save the best for last. Ryan Day, University of Ohio State head football coach, coached Justin Fields to maybe national championship semis twice, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know about this because I don't really want to favor Justin Fields in this decision. Once again, I want a coach that's going to come in, hold guys accountable, and get the most out of Justin Fields as he does it. Not so much I'm going to come in because I'm Justin Fields' ex-football coach and I deserve the job because of that. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I know he's probably a really good football coach. I just don't want any hot coordinators. I want somebody that's got head coaching experience at the NFL level. Now, don't get me wrong, because any coach they pick, I'm a Bear fan. I may not like the decision when they make it because I think it's obvious they're going to make a change. I'm going to roll with whoever they pick. But I just got some guys that I would want to, get some consideration to.
Yeah. I'm not really high on the Ryan Day hire for the same reason that you are. That's a hot coordinator type of pick. Oh, he coached Justin Fields, so it's already established relationship there, so he can get this thing rolling. I'm not sure how good of a coach Ryan Day really is. And I say this for this reason. Jim Tressel got the Ohio State program rolling back in 2001, 2002. He leaves, Urban Meyer comes in and takes it to the next level. So they just all world. Okay, so we already know the talent that they put out on the field, 9 times out of 10 is going to be better than anybody they playing in the country. Urban leaves abruptly. Ryan Day is the offensive coordinator. He takes over from that. Yes, he got to the Final Four twice with Urban's players. As I just stated, if you put them on the field 9 times out of 10, they're going to be the most talented team. That does not mean you can coach. So I think we got to put a TBD or a NA next to his grade on coaching because we don't know how good of a coach he is. And shout out my man Jim Harbaugh. He said people standing on third base thinking they hit a triple. No, you just got put in a pinch runner. That's exactly what Ryan Day's situation is. So I don't know. I'm not that high. The first two names that you mentioned, like Sean Payton, I definitely would lean that way more so than Ryan Day. But I just don't know how good of a coach Ryan Day is.
Okay, now I think we feel the same way about Ryan Day. Byron Leftwich, the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, think he's gonna get some consideration because of the success of the Super Bowl. Once again, another hot coordinator. Unless he bring in Tom Brady, I don't want him.
I don't think, because I know Byron been in the running or has been mentioned for jobs in the past. He always get passed over, kind of like Eric Bieniemy on the Chiefs staff. He always get passed over. I don't think the Bears would take a chance on him, this being his first coaching job. I don't see that one happen. And that ain't got nothing to do with him being, black or brother, nothing like that. I just don't think they're going to take that chance. I think they're going to come with a established guy. They either going to go established guy or they're going to go hot coordinator. I don't want hot coordinator.
So we're going to stay in Tampa Bay, and I just threw this guy's name in the hat because he kind of crossed my mind as we were in this conversation. Ty Bowles, the defensive coordinator for Tampa Bay, had the opportunity. He was the head coach in New York with the Jets. So because he has the experience of running the football team, kind of reminds me of maybe a Lovie Smith type of hire. But Ty Bowles, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defensive coordinator.
I could see that one again because I think if we being honest with ourselves, our defense has probably seen they better years, like they're in the rearview mirror now. So I think if the defense was stronger or more of a elite level, he would be a viable candidate. But because the defense is probably middle of the road, I think they still gonna go, we need an offensive guy. We need somebody to come in and get this thing rolling. And then we just need a defense to be average, kind of like what they are. We just got to be able to score more than 14 points. If we can get 28 and the defense only giving up 20, we good. So I think that would be their approach in dealing with both.
I think you saw this one coming because now we're gonna have a little confusion jump off. But Jim Harbaugh, the coach of your Michigan Wolverines and former Chicago Bears quarterback, Jim Harbaugh. I know you might have a few mixed emotions, but at least you get to keep Harbaugh.
Yeah, you know what? If you had brought this up pre-Ohio State victory, I was like, no, I don't want him at Michigan. I don't want him to leave Michigan, then come to my favorite pro team. Like, I'm just done with Harbaugh. But him beating Ohio State, then kind of, I kind of got rejuiced. My batteries got charged. You know what I'm saying? It was like we was drinking old ass orange juice. But now that orange juice tastes kind of good now. You know what I mean? So I'm not ready to lose Jim. I think Jim at Michigan. I think this could be the start of a new run for Michigan. Now, you could say I'm drinking the Kool-Aid because of everything that happened in the last 2 weeks. I get it. But I think they could be on the verge of turning this thing really around because you got to know, with those two big wins, they're going to start getting some of these upper-level recruits that they couldn't get, which should pay dividends on the field. And from everything that I've seen, just watching, behind-the-scenes stuff, covering Michigan, players really love Jim Harbaugh as a coach. So I want him to stay at Michigan. I already know Michigan's not going to make him leave or fire him anytime soon. So I want him to stay at Michigan. If he came to the Bears, he's had success as an NFL coach. We already seen what he did with San Francisco 49ers, went to the Super Bowl, 3 NFC Championship games. I think he was there a total of 5 years. And the 5th year was pretty much, he was going to Michigan, and that was just hanging over his head all year. So, you know, it was just a down year for him. So definitely he would be a good coach for the Bears, but I think he would grind on the players. You know, these grown men we talking about. That stuff you do in college, that ain't gonna work for grown men over a period of 5, 6, 7 years. You know, recruiting class players, they recycle each other. You know, in 4 years, then we got some more guys coming in. So I think he's a fixture in Ann Arbor until he decides that he wants to leave or he wants to retire. Him beating Ohio State, like, he pretty much wrote his own ticket. He'll never be on the hot seat there again.
Well, I have a difference of opinion, and I think I expressed that to you immediately after the Big Ten championship victory.
Yeah.
Was that I felt like if Harbaugh can somehow win national championship, his legacy in Ann Arbor, Michigan will be etched in stone. But I think he's went through so much to get to this point. And with his taste of losing the Super Bowl to his brother, John Harbaugh, I think if he won a national championship for his alma mater, I think that's probably one of the biggest checks on the coaching bucket list you could ever have.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the ultimate of the profession, you would want to win a Super Bowl. How many coaches, other than maybe Jimmy Johnson?
That's the only one that come to mind. Oh, Barry Switzer, didn't he win a national championship?
You're right. Maybe he won one with Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Barry Switzer. We got to check that fact. Barry Switzer, Jimmy Johnson. It's only been 2 that we can name.
Yeah.
So, and that just hit my spirit tonight. I didn't even think about that in the game. I didn't even think about that when we was watching him hoist the trophy on Saturday night. But, you know, I'm making executive decisions. I got to consider these things. And I think that will be very enticing for Jim Harbaugh to be like one up on Johnny. Yeah. He would be one up on John if he did that.
He definitely would. He definitely would.
He can most definitely get the big piece of chicken after that.
he definitely would.
Thanksgiving will never be the same at the Harbaughs.
Let me ask you this. Do you think he can swallow losing the Super Bowl just a little bit better because his brother beat him versus just a random coach? Do you think he can take it a little bit better?
I want you to repeat that question.
Do you think Jim Harbaugh can swallow losing the Super Bowl a little bit better, being that he lost to his brother John Harbaugh versus if he had lost to Mike Tomlin, Belichick, some of these other guys?
I didn't give that much thought, but come on. The opportunity to win a national championship with your alma mater and have the opportunity to even win a Super Bowl with the team you play for. Might I add, the team that drafted you. Might I add.
Yeah.
I don't think it gets any sweeter than that. And I think, to answer your question, I don't think he would give a damn. Because it's the opportunity that counts. You got to play the game to lose the game. You got to play the game to win the game. So, I don't think he would give a damn. You got to have the opportunity to do it. Did I answer your question?
Hey, you answered it. But Jim staying in Ann Arbor. We're gonna have to take out the list.
I know you want Jim to stay.
But here's the thing, I'm so torn on that. Like, it's just because what he's done the last 2 or 3 weeks that I don't want him to go. Like we finally can get this thing rolling now, like it was supposed to be when we hired your ass on December 30th, 2014. Like it's finally at that point right now.
I understand, and I know you might be a tad bit emotional about this. Okay, I understand, but these are the realities that we got to deal with. Now, if he goes out and wins the national championship with the Wolverines, he's going to be getting NFL phone calls.
Oh yeah,
I like to think. If not the Bears, someone will be calling Jimmy. But I wouldn't mind seeing him take us. I don't know if he'd last long enough to go to Arlington Heights, but I believe I wouldn't mind seeing Jim Harbaugh get an opportunity. I would first and foremost want him to win the national championship. I would want to see him do that first. And then I will welcome him with open arms to Chicago. Because I believe it's got to be something that he would consider, considering that he was drafted by the Bears, played quarterback for the Bears, and just to have the opportunity to win the national championship for his alma mater, the Michigan Wolverines, beat Ohio State, put all that up, roll it all up in a bowl of wax, then go to Chicago, the team that drafted you, go have an opportunity to take that team to the NFL Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. Hey, I think it would be a hell of an opportunity for Jim Harbaugh if that was the case. But I'm going to throw a dark horse in there, another Bear that came to my mind, and then we're going to wrap it up because I got some things I want to laugh at. Leslie Frazier.
Old coach of the Vikings.
Yeah. I want to say, I think Leslie Frazier, defensive coordinator in Buffalo, is he? We may have to check into that.
I think you're right.
But he has head coaching experience, and I might want to throw him in as a dark horse. But to wrap it up tonight, it's been fun. It's been real. But let's go back to college football. It's kind of like a popcorn kernel that we left on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to pick it up. Brian Kelly leaves Notre Dame. Controversial fashion. Okay. Marcus Freeman, I believe that's the guy's name. Marcus Freeman has been named the head coach of Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
But great accomplishment. Wish him the best of luck. And I know you're not a Notre Dame guy, but you got to feel good for a brother getting an opportunity to go to a program like Notre Dame, with the fanfare and the tradition, and have an opportunity to be a head coach. I mean, come on now. But Brian Kelly went down to LSU, and boy, he found his Southern draw.
Man, listen.
He brought his family to the great state of Louisiana.
Hey. When you sent me that video, I was like, who is this guy talking? Like, who is this? First of all, I was pissed because I thought it was wrong how he left. Like, I'm all for him. If he want to take the LSU job, cool. Wait till after the season is over. Because we supposed to be a team, right? We in this to the end of the season. Like, players understand this is a business. They throwing them dollar signs out here. Hey, NIL, hey, sign me up. I need my money. I get it. But for him to leave like he did before the bowl game, LSU would have waited for him. If he was their guy, they would have waited for him. So I just thought that was very, very shady and disrespectful to what he did to the team. It's supposed to be ain't no iron team, but it's damn sure it was a me in it for him. So,
well, the word is that he actually had some coaches out recruiting for Notre Dame while he was making this decision, and they weren't even informed.
Yeah.
That's the story, but I'm not sure. But that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Now, to close it out, our Bears, we're gonna have a chance to in the next few weeks to go through the national championship semis leading up to New Year's Eve and going into the national championship game with the Wolverines, whatever. But I'm gonna close it out. A few weeks ago, Aaron Rodgers told the Bears, went in the end zone. He told the fans, "I still own you."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Matt Nagy is about to get fired. I believe that's to be true. But I think Matt Nagy should still be motivated, and the Bears players should still be motivated to go beat the Green Bay Packers on that statement alone. I own you. So, if you remember, I was motivated at that time, and I said, and I'm going out on a limb, and I got to hold true to it. I'm going to stick with it. I'm picking the Bears to beat the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football coming up.
Do you remember the last year of Mark Trestman? When the Bears, I believe they went to New England, they got 50 hung on them. And I think the following week, maybe they played Philadelphia, and they got 50 hung on them again. Back-to-back weeks. I think we're looking at one of those type of performances. Because I don't think, what was the word of the night? Accountability. I don't think there's any leaders. The leaders that you do have on that team, they out with injuries. You're talking about your Khalil Max, your Allen Robinson, your Hakeem Hicks. They out with injuries, okay? The only chance we got for this to be a competitive game is guys are like, I got to put something good on tape, so I'm either here next year or I can get me a new deal. Other than that, I think it's gonna be. We thought Sunday versus the Cardinals at the crib was over before it started. We don't even need to make this trip up there. They might as well just forfeit this one. Like there's no way. I think we're looking at a 48-10 type of drubbing.
And then also the question is, how we gonna? Will Andy Dalton play? Get the start for this game, or is Justin Fields healthy enough to play? Okay, we'll see. But I'm picking the Bears to win because I got to stick with my pick. So I want to see if guys going to be held accountable on Sunday Night Football. It's been real. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for watching the game. Watching the Game podcast. Hey, got a lot on the bone, like I continue to say, man. It's still a lot to look forward to. Watch the Game podcast.
We out.
Peace out.